This is a help video for 3.09 unit test part 2 or 3.09 TGA, however you want to say that. Number 1 says the table shows values of a function f of x. What is the average rate of f of x over the interval from x equals 5 to x equals 9? Show your work. So here's your table. Just a quick reminder that your f of x is the same thing as your y values. I really can't explain around this problem, so I think what I'll do is I'll just make an example problem that's similar. So if I make my own f of x chart, just making this up off the top of my head. Let's do 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So let's say this is the table that they give me, and they're asking me to find the average rate of change from where x is 2 to where x is 5. So using this table as an example for number 1, I would first start with finding my 2 ordered pairs. So I know that I know my x's. So I know one x is 2 and the other x is 5. So I would go to my chart. Here's where x is 2, and here's where y would match up with that 2. And so I have the ordered pair 2, 6. Here's the ordered pair where x is 5, and it's going to match up with the 3. So I would have the ordered pair 5, 3. So I would take the 2 x values that they give me in the problem. I would find those 2 x values in my chart, and I would get the ordered pairs that go with the 2 x values. And then in my second step, I would work the slope formula, which is slope and rate of change are the same things. It was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In this first point, you would treat that as your first x and your first y. Your second point, you would treat that as your second x and your second y. So second y is 3 minus first y is 6 over second x is 5 minus first x is 2. That's going to give me negative 3 over positive 3, and then that's going to reduce to be negative 1. And that would be your average rate of change between these 2 x values of 2 and 5. So this would be your answer. So that's an example of how number 1 has worked with a different chart. Number 2 is asking you to find f divided by g, and they're giving you your f of x and your g of x. So you're going to take the f of x. I'll just kind of set this one up to begin with. And you're going to put that over, that's going to go on the top, and then the 2x squared plus 13x plus 5 will go on the bottom because that's what it's telling us, f over g. And it says show your work. So then you're going to try to see if this will simplify. So in order for a fraction like this to simplify, you do have to factor the top and the bottom. And hopefully you're going to have some factors that will cancel out. And then whatever you have left will be your simplified. Hopefully you'll have some factors that cancel out, and then that'll produce your simplified answer. Okay, so just make sure that you show your work where you factor. On number 3, we're given a function f of x and a function g of x, and they're asking us to solve. So f of x equals g of x. That means we're trying to find where these two graphs intersect, but they're specifically asking us to do this by a table of values. So you could do this a couple different ways. You could use your TI-84. You could type the equations in your y equals. I'll just type something in. I won't type this in because I'm running out of time. I actually got a one-on-one I'm supposed to be in right now. I'll just type. I'm going to make up an equation for the first one and make up an equation for the second one. And then if you hit table, if you hit second graph to get to the table, my bad, it's going to give you, here's your x, here's the y for the first equation, here's the y for the second equation. Here's your x, here's the y for the first equation, here's the y for the second equation. And you're looking for where you have 2 points that are the same, meaning they're the same on both graphs. So those would be the points of intersections. Now I just made these 2 equations up, so they may not intersect. Let me go back and change it. Let's change it to, let me change this one to, you think for a minute, second. Let's graph it. Okay, so they do intersect. So I just made some equations up. I do want to, so they intersect at 0, 3, but if we go to second graph and we go to the table, so you'll notice right here at 3, 3. So when x is 0, the first equation has a y of 3. So that means that 0, 3 is on the first equation. And then 0, 3, you're going to look for whether y1 and the y2 are the same. That's going to show you where the points of intersections were. If I were you, I would probably, you could type this chart out. You're going to have to show your table. If you use Desmos, let me show you this really quick. You could snip this from Desmos. So f of x equals x plus 3. And then it'll do f of x equals x minus 3. If you go to, did I do negative? What were those equations? I made those up. Both were x plus 3. One was negative. Okay, those are the same 2 equations. So they intersect at 0, 3. If you go to the settings wheel and you do table, why I didn't do that? Should have given you, I don't know why it's not giving you your y values. There you go. I don't know why the f of x didn't work. Well, usually that works when you put in, hold on, f of x equals, let me just put an equation in, and you hit the settings and you hit the table. Yeah, you should get a table there. So you could put your 2 equations in for number 3, and you could snip these tables. You may have to add some more x's, so you could add another 3 if you were trying to find the points of intersections. I would look at the graph and use the graph for the points of intersections. So I'll type, let's see if I can do a line here. Let's do x plus 1. Okay, so I have an intersection point here. These are not really pretty points. Let's see if I change that to a 2. Okay, so my intersection points are at -1, +1, and +2, +4. You know why it's not giving me my charts? Oh, here we go. Okay, so -1, +1, -1, +1. Okay, that's in the first equation. And then it's also -1, +1. So you're finding the 2 points that are in both T-charts, and that proves where the point of intersections are. So then you could just snip these and put those into your TGA. You could use your TI-84, but you can't snip something because it's, it's on your calculator, not in your Desmos. All right, hopefully that was helpful. I'll send that out once the video processes.